This is Grow Omaha Uncut, where you can watch our radio show, including what goes on in the commercial breaks. And be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons.
Shall we go into the news of the week right now?
I think so. Brought to you by Eagle Mortgage.
Eagle Mortgage has been at it for more than 30 years. Holly Schneiderwind and her team do an outstanding job. Doesn't matter whether you're doing conventional, FHA, VA. They have even some other mortgages that they do as well. But the main thing is they are not beholden to one bank. They shop the banks. They're a broker who works for you and find the best. Their goal is to find the best financing option for you as you get ready to go out there and make a pretty big purchase if you're thinking about buying a house. And by the way, we keep hearing all of this stuff about interest rates, and yeah, they have gone up a lot from what they used to be, but people are still buying and selling houses. In fact, it's still a very active housing market, even during the holidays like we are right now. People are buying and selling houses. Talk to Holly and her team. They'll get you started when you are ready to go out into the fun and exciting world of buying a house. All right, well, on with the news. Trenton, was kind of exciting. We had a groundbreaking this week for the Baby Bob Bridge. This is the bridge to a bridge, you might say. North downtown, is full of all sorts of activity with Charles Schwab Field, CHI Health Center Omaha, and all of this stuff in the Builders District. But if you wanted to get to the riverfront, it wasn't so easy. Still isn't. But construction has started, even though the groundbreaking was this week. We had construction start a while before that. And this is a $6 million project, very nice looking bridge that will take you over the railroad tracks and bring you right up to the start of the Bob Carey Bridge, which takes you over the Missouri River. We have a rendering of it on the Grow Omaha Facebook page if you want to see what this Baby Bob Bridge will look like. But the key thing, Trenton, with all of the stuff going on downtown, it's more connectivity and opens up more options.
I want my Baby Bob, Baby Bob, Baby Bob.
That's all you have to say about it?
No, I think it's funny, though, that you and I give a lot of tours of Omaha. We talk about Omaha. That's our job, and that's the purpose of the show. Have you ever noticed that we always precede every project with what it costs? It's only $6 million.
It's kind of a journalistic. That's kind of a journalistic tenet when we're reporting the news. So we do that because that what things cost is pretty relevant.
And I think over the 20 years.
But what do you think about the bridge?
Over the 20 years, these prices have gone up. But no, I think it's neat. It's overdue, and it'll definitely be a good addition to what we have down there.
So I was looking at some of the quotes and comments that were made during the groundbreaking ceremony. And one of the speakers talked about the disproportionately large percentage of people who cross the Bob Carey pedestrian bridge during the 10 days of College World Series. Makes a lot of sense, and it'll be just interesting to see what this does to enhance that experience for people who come out of town. I noticed when I was watching CWS games, I would catch an inning or two here or there during the series last year, how many cutaway shots the network would use of the bridge. Like most of the cutaway shots, you might do like the stadium or maybe do downtown Omaha, but a lot of the cutaway shots were of the bridge.
I wonder if it's more during the day or more during the night with the LED lighting changing and stuff.
It seemed like toward the end of the game when the lights were on, you would see a little bit more. But of course, the days are so long that time of year that you don't get a lot of nighttime shots during College World Series time. Well, Nebraska is number 10 on the list of best states to work in 2023, according to a study released earlier this week from Peak Sales Recruiting. The study analyzed wages, union representation, work hours, taxes, remote work, things like that. The 10 best cities or rather states in order: Oregon, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Montana, Delaware, Washington, Minnesota, North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska. And anytime there's like a good ranking, it seems like Nebraska and the Dakotas are always in there. Like Nebraska and the Dakotas do well on all of this sort of stuff.
I can see that, and I always think it's interesting that we report all these different rankings, and you always wonder like what is the methodology that too of their what's the process for them selecting us, and who are they talking to, and what kind of data are they running?
Yeah, this one pulled a bunch of data from Census Bureau, Bureau of Labor Statistics, a lot of federal reporting and that sort of thing. It's kind of interesting. Yeah, I would say, generally speaking, the workforce here seems happy. We just don't have enough of it. We need to get some more of them. But those who are here do seem to be pretty happy compared to the workers in a lot of places, I guess. Well, since we're talking about the state of Nebraska, let's talk about a state issue. The Imagine Nebraska, or it's abbreviated as N-E capitalized.
Wow.
But the Imagine Nebraska Act, which was passed back in 2020 to spur economic growth, we got a little report on how it is doing, courtesy of Nebraska Examiner. And looks like so far we have had 50 companies take advantage of the Imagine Nebraska Act. They have pledged to create a total of just under 2,500 new jobs and invest $1.55 billion, billion with a B. The largest project so far is Mutual of Omaha's headquarters tower. That's a $600 million project, but only about $450 million of it count towards this act. Other large projects in the state, there is a $180 million project in Kimball, Nebraska with 80 new jobs. And then a couple in Blair, Perfect Day Incorporated of Blair, $275 million and 70 jobs. And then Novozymes in Blair, $267 million and 50 jobs. So, Blair has such amazing investments going on in the biorefinery campus right along the Missouri River. Doesn't surprise me that you have a couple in Blair.
And we get people from all over the world. And was a king, not a king and a queen, but we had a prince and a princess or something.
Oh, from Denmark, yeah. When I was actually at that thing, and they had to put these like rose petals or something down for them to walk on. And
reminds me of home.
It was a big deal for people I had never heard of until that event, but it was impressive nonetheless. So a couple of observations from the air, if you will. I was coming in for a landing at Epley Thursday morning, and the plane took a different route than usual. We kind of went right over the middle of the city and then looped around and landed from the north. And a couple things stood out. One, the Google campus under construction near 114th and State Street.
Oh, wow.
From the air looks extremely impressive. They already have what looks like one massive building enclosed, a second massive building almost enclosed, and then they are just going to town, grading what looks like hundreds of additional acres to the north.
That
so
Northwest
that looks
corridor,
pretty cool.
I think it's really going to spur, it already has, but it was kind of a quiet corridor for the last 20 years. Now it's just kind of exploding.
Yeah, absolutely. And that Blair High Road, 4-lane divided highway has the potential for a lot more. And even when you get beyond the Douglas County border into southern Washington County, there's good land there that could be developable for industrial.
And if you take Blair High Road, you get off Interstate 680. I am selling a building for the Walling Company, which is a really cool company that does industrial pumps for ethanol and manufacturing and stuff. Rob Berry and his wife own the business. Mimi Quinn's the CFO. And I'm excited because I'm helping them transition. They're getting a much bigger building, not too far away, actually, and we're going to sell their existing building. But it's good to see local companies grow, and that's what the Walling Company's doing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do want to go back to something else I saw when we were coming in for a landing on Thursday morning. Great view of, and this is why I thought of it, the biorefinery campus. It was off in the distance a little bit, but when you see that biorefinery campus in Blair, right along the Missouri River from the air, you realize just how much is there. I mean, it is a major concentration of commerce and economic activity and manufacturing.
What's funny is sometimes it's hard to get businesses to come here, and as we've talked about before, but once they're here, they expand.
they're kind of like people. They always say it's hard to get people to come here, but once they do come here, recruiters will say it's hard to get people to come here, but once they're here, it's hard to recruit them away from here.
Which is great.
And we love that. We just need to get it so it's a little easier for them to come on the front end. Finally, the Salvation Army plans to expand and renovate its North Core Community Center. This is on 24th Street at Pratt on the north side. This project received City Council approval earlier this week. Plans call for renovating 14,000 square feet and constructing an additional 29,000 square feet of space. Nice to see some momentum on the 24th Street corridor. We've talked a few times about North End Teleservices, a big building they're constructing a little south of that at 24th and Lake, but momentum on the 24th Street corridor to be sure. And ladies and gentlemen, that is your news of the week, which is brought to you by Eagle Mortgage. You can find them in person at 114th and Davenport or online at eaglemortgagecompany.com. Going to take our first break of the hour, and when we come back, we're going to bring on Jerry O'Doherty and Mark Rogers from Eide Bailey, accounting CPA firm here in Omaha. We're going to be talking about some energy tax credits that could be very beneficial for people who are building, renovating, or acquiring buildings. And some of these might come to as a surprise to a lot of you. So stay with us. You're listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and D&M Roofing and Siding on News Radio 1110 KFAB.
Does it have to do about pace?
So Mark will be either on 1110 or 9000.
What time do you do?
920.
Basically anything, well, there's a handful of different things. So you think of solar, wind, bio, all these different things now, potentially depending on, there's different factors. You get like a 30% credit. So and now nonprofits can participate, and they should be able to participate for it in actual refundable credit, so cash back.
Okay.
So so you think about the Catholic Church out west that's being built, they're going to get 30% of that back because of some of the
30% of what?
of the cost of like a geothermal installation. So
And
actually
who gives them the cash?
through the government.
Really?
Yeah.
Government? So it's something to do with Biden getting rid of our gas stoves and stuff?
Here are a list of questions that Jerry sent that we can go to these. I'll leave that up.
I'm still trying to figure out why my accountant wants me to send $100-something thousand to the state of Nebraska for the last 5 years.
Oh,
Nebraska's
the
one.
PTED.
Yeah,
The pass-through entity tax.
it's called
you're
P10.
PTED.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're gonna basically essentially get deductions.
So if I write up a check for $100,000,
You get it all back, and then you're gonna get a deduction.
so
you pay your taxes
So
early.
if I'm in the 37% tax bracket, then I'd get a $37,000 deduction on my federal income taxes.
Yes.
And then how do I get the $100,000 back?
The state's gonna refund that back to you.
Okay.
So it's like an in and an out.
Okay. Or do they apply it to my future?
Yeah, yeah. There's a thing called the tax benefit rule that some CPAs are not aware of, that there potentially might be an issue.
Okay, Mark, thanks for calling. I appreciate it.
That's a different discussion.
We're at break right
It's
now,
cool that
and then we're going to your
there's only
segment.
Nebraska and one other state.
Come back, so just be a couple
And
minutes.
Pillin jumped on it or something to figure it out?
Yeah, there's two attorneys
Okay,
at
great.
Coley
Hold
Justin
on.
that were really pushing this. So this is going to impact you as well.
Okay. You sent me that email,
Yeah.
and I sent it to my lovely bride Stephanie. I'm like, can you please understand what this
Yeah,
means?
yeah.
Who are the attorneys, you know?
Shaffert is Jeff Shaffert, and then Nick. Can't remember Nick's last name.
These are good.
But those are the two guys that apparently were like the behind the scenes.
They've got some impressive people there.
Yeah, yeah, they've done a good job.
This is Joe Cordell. Cordell.
Oh, yes, you're in the cameras, yeah.
Should remind us that faith and family.
All people to see your pretty face.
We hope that you succeed in coming together.
Good idea.
You
might wanna make sure you
those
hear.
you love, and in the process, creating some
Too loud,
generational
just right.
memories.
Too loud.
Holidays have this magical power to magnify small things to ever greater memories over time. What a return on investment. Happy holidays.
Thanks.
Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Nebraska or Iowa attorneys. 13340 California Street, Suite 200, Omaha, Nebraska, 68154. CordellCordell.com. Everyone says they like working with
All
their
right,
local
this is
companies.
it.
Then it comes time to get that home loan.
So is Mark called in then?
Yeah, he's on, right? And we should be able to, in theory.
Okay. Playing with apps. Just don't. Contact
99 times out of 100, we,
Holiday
99 times out of 100, we can hear him on the phone, on the headphones.
Eagle
Yeah.
Mortgage for your mortgage or refinance, and let them beat the national lender. lenders on rates and service. Eagle Mortgage. Online at eaglemortgagecompany.com. NMLS number 2376.
Here we go. And welcome back to the show. Jeff Beals and Trenton Maggot at your service, broadcasting from the KFAB Penthouse Studio high above Underwood Avenue in downtown Dundee. We're brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and D&M Roofing and Siding. Want to bring on my friend Jerry O'Doherty, who is managing partner at a local CPA firm, or for the Omaha office, rather, of Eide Bailey. It's a national firm. And his colleague, Mark Rogers, who's calling in this morning from Chicago. And we're going to be talking about some energy tax credits that have an impact on anyone who's involved in building projects. But first of all, Jerry and Mark, good morning and welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jeff. Trenton, really do appreciate you guys allowing us to come here and speak.
And Mark, welcome from Chicago.
Yeah, good morning. Thanks for having me on.
Jerry, before we get any further, though, why don't you put in a plug for Eide Bailey, just so people know what it is and the fact that it was not too long ago called Syme Johnson.
Correct. Yeah, Jeff, thank you so much. So last July, a year ago July, our firm merged with Eide Bailey. So we're now a top 25 firm in the nation. We are in 15 different states, over 45 different offices. We're a full service firm. And as Syme Johnson, we were very blessed, been in the community for 40 plus years. But we saw what was taking place in our market, and we realized our clients need more. And part of that process, we started having numerous other services that we can now offer our clients. One of them is what we're going to be talking about today with Mark Rogers and his team, to talk about all these benefits that both the for-profit and not-for-profit entities can now participate in.
It seems like on a national level, we hear more and more, Jerry, about energy efficiency, and the government wants to do this, or there's a push for that. Is this all part of what we're hearing on the news?
That's exactly it, Trenton. So with the passage of the Inflation Reduction Act back at the end of 2022, it's really a misnomer. I know, shocker.
Wow.
that the government would name something, do one thing, and do something on the other end. But really what it has is some tremendous benefits for entities that never could participate before. It's always, I look at it, let's talk about the Huskers real quick, right? Next year they're moving the Big Ten. People are concerned, are they going to ever be able to participate in the big game, once they change things? Well, this case, it used to be not-for-profits never could participate in this game, and now they can. And it's a tremendous benefit that we'll talk some detail about for you and your listeners.
Okay, and so it comes out of the Inflation Reduction Act, and it basically provides energy tax credits for people who are in the building acquisition, construction, and renovation space. So let's talk a little bit about it. Jerry said both for-profit and non-profit entities, but what types of industries are benefiting the most from these energy incentives?
Yeah, Mark, I'll turn it over to you here.
Yeah, sure. So the Inflation Reduction Act, yes, it was a name that got passed so that the law can go through. It's one big energy bill. It's kind of industry agnostic. There's 24 incentives out there if you're building 4 walls and a roof. And if you're doing these things and putting in this energy property, the government is going to dole out anywhere north of $1.7 trillion of goodies. Now, I'll say this, so everyone's a winner in this space. Now, the winners plus in this space are those real estate developers that are doing one of 3 things. One, they're doing something with renewables. We're talking solar, wind, 8 others, and we can get into the weeds there. 2, decarbonization, electric vehicle charging stations, infrastructure for that, and cars. And then 3, energy efficiency. So think energy efficient HVAC or lighting or building envelope. So if you're playing in those 3 spots, there's going to be some incentives out there for you. You just have to ask. The IRS is not going to give you a heads up, hey, you forgot to take this incentive. It's incumbent on you to get to know these things, because these things are going to be around for the next 10 years. then act on them and ask and develop this energy property.
Is this only for new ground-up construction, Mark, or is it major remodels as well?
Right. So in this Inflation Reduction Act, we'll just call it the energy bill. It's the largest energy bill in legislative history. They really widened the deal goalpost. So for those who are building new, now's your chance to get in alternate bids for these renewables and energy efficient construction property. But also for those who are renovating or adding or expanding, they could play in the game too. Really what the government's trying to do, these incentives in the built environment have been around since the 70s and 90s. What they're trying to do here is really push the energy focus. And they are tired of waiting for some of these renewables to be initiated due to paybacks. You know, you put in solar and then you get a payback of over 10 years because you've reduced utility bills. So what they're doing here is saying, the payback's great. We're going to give you a briefcase of cash to do this in year 1 or 2 to get that upfront cost and really start to get this into the marketplace.
So if you install these energy efficient devices, lighting, all that kind of stuff, you have to prove that the project's complete, and then you apply for it and the government writes you a check for half of it, or how does it work?
Right. So 2 ways you can monetize. And both ways start with this. You get into the energy incentive program. There is no shortage of, we talked about the Inflation Reduction Act, thousands of pages of legislation and guidance. And what happens in these cases, Congress will throw up a bunch of stuff that they want, and the IRS and Treasury tries to catch up and create the forms and create the rules and regulations to play in the game. So step 1 is to get into the energy incentive program. From that point, you start to design in renewables and energy efficiency. And from there, on the for-profit side, the tax credit. So if you have taxable income and you put in $100,000 of solar, potentially you can get a $50,000 credit. I've seen it go as high as $150,000. And yes, there's cases where you can get a higher credit than the amount of energy property you put in. And then that just goes onto your tax return and reduces your taxable income. It's a dollar for dollar credit. It's a wonderful thing. Where things are getting interesting is in the non-for-profit space. I've been doing this for 20 years, and never have non-for-profits been invited to even play the game because they don't pay tax, and so they don't need these incentives. That all changed with 2 words, direct pay. Direct pay is the mechanism where nonprofits or exempt organizations can now monetize this credit. So they go through the hoops, they file the forms, they register, they get into the program. At the end of the day, they apply for a credit, rabbit ears, and in turn, they get a direct pay check from the Department of Treasury. I call it a briefcase of cash. And that's how they get incentivized. They can think of that in the exempt org space, developing property there. Think of it like a rebate. And yeah, again, for 20 years, I've talked with only for-profit entities trying to reduce their taxable income in the built environment. Now, 90% of my conversations are with hospitals and religious organizations and education and even a presidential library. So things are starting to get really exciting for certain industries that, quite frankly, weren't invited to play in this game before.
Just a couple minutes left with Mark Rogers and Jerry O'Doherty from Eide Johnson talk about energy tax credits. And Mark, what about making sure your engineer or architect are up to date on this stuff? If you're doing a building project, there's no guarantee they know about that, right?
That is a really good point. I'd say since August of 22, when the Inflation Reduction Act came out, I've been on the road once or twice a month giving presentations, and the biggest challenge is getting everyone in the same room at the same time. You need your accounting, engineering, incentive consultant. You need you as a building owner, whether that's exempt or for profit, but you also need to get your designer involved, your facility engineer, your architect, to plan for these things. We have 10 years. Congress has given us a 10-year window, 2023 to 2032, to cash in on these. So this is the year where we start laying the foundation in our capital expenditure requests, our capital projects, and let it known that these one-time investment tax credits, briefcases of cash, are out there. I've been in many conversations where the architect says, solar doesn't make sense because the payback's 10 years and the upfront cost is another $1 million. Well, if we all get on the phone together and model out, we might find, hey, we might get you a $1.5 million credit for that solar, or geothermal, or electrochromic glass, fuel cells. There's 10 of them that every architect, engineer, and building owner should watch out for as buzzwords and start to consider these things, because where they might not have penciled out before, it might make financial sense to move forward with these renewables.
Well, folks, if you want to check into this, if you are contemplating or involved in a building project, reach out to Eide Bailey. It's spelled E-I-D-E, and Bailey is spelled not the way it sounds. It's B-A-I-L-L-Y, eidebailey.com. But Jerry O'Doherty and Mark Rogers, we appreciate you joining us and opening up our eyes to something that could be of benefit to a lot of Gromaha listeners.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. And I'll give my phone number as well, Jerry O'Doherty. And my phone number is 402-691-5555.
That's his home number.
And like we said earlier, Jerry is the managing partner for Eide Bailey here in Omaha. Mark Rogers, thanks. Have a great weekend.
Yeah, thank you. Have a happy Thanksgiving, Jeff.
All right, we're going to take our middle of the show break, I should say, for the news. And then after that, we're going to come back and talk about construction on the Dodge Street corridor. You're listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and D&M Roofing and Siding on News Radio 1110 KFAB.
This is Sean Callahan inviting you to join me for the Oscar Online show.
Thank you. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, it went pretty well, and you could hear him fine.
Okay.
So, yeah.
You can link it and do all that kind of fun stuff with it.
Nice. Thanks.
I wouldn't be surprised if you get a couple calls.
Okay. Well, hopefully that's going to help people. That's the thing the government's got. I assume you want me to.
You can stay around as long as you want if you like to see how sausage gets made.
Or you can leave and start your day.
Well, I got some work I got going on. So
you're like, ooh, look at that time.
No, I really appreciate it, guys.
I'd love to stay, but there's no complimentary donuts.
Hey, if you want, I've got some in my office I can talk a little more on the PTAT thing that you got a question. So I can kind of walk you through at least what the issues are.
Appreciate it.
Okay. Jerry, thanks so much. Yeah, say hi to the family. Talk to you soon.
Season is officially upon us, and you know what that means.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving.
The
Hard to believe it's
every
almost
Husker
Thanksgiving.
football game earns
Scary this
saver
fast
points
year.
with your grocery purchase.
But it's really interesting.
The more the more you save. Only at your
paid,
Nebraska Hy-Vee stores.
it's like an S Corp or something else. You paid Nebraska, the state of Nebraska, for the last 5 years, state income tax, 6% or whatever, and then you turn around and you pay them a check for the last 5 years that you've already paid them.
Mm-hmm.
And then the way I understand it is, you can, let's say it's $100,000. Then if you're in the 37% tax bracket, then this is not tax advice. I am not a CPA or an attorney, and I don't understand this issue.
Don't adjust your strategy based on what Trent's saying, but enjoy the comments.
So basically, you gotta come up with the money, and then somehow the state gives it back to you, or you can apply it towards future payments, and then you write it off your federal taxes. So if it's $100,000, then you'd get $37,000 back. So I don't know. I've asked what the hell it means, and then I just got to write the check. Craig said, "You're probably going to."
It's kind of a nice deal. I mean,
well, kudos to Pillen and whoever else, and the attorneys at Coley Justin, I guess,
for coming up with it. Yeah.
Not the attorney that beat me up on that listing agreement the other day. You know who you are, and you're at Coley Justin, but the attorneys I use over there are really good.
This is the uncomfortable part that is the reason a lot of people probably tune into Uncut.
Yes.
This is the awkward and uncomfortable part where we're like, all right, what's he gonna say? Go ahead.
No, you know who you are.
You know who they are. It's not very often that people beat you up on a deal.
Yeah.
You didn't choose to get in.
Half the listing was like disclosure.
Beating people
Half
up.
the language was disclosure because I.
Now that Jerry left, we don't have to be quite
I'm a big
close to one another.
I don't like it.
Because I know you were using my armrest earlier. So if you want to, like, scooch a little, you can.
Who do you want to talk to the microphone?
And I can look through the space like this.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get you all framed.
Can I get you my smoky look?
Fox News, I'm
There you
Pam
go.
Crusoe.
That's the
Most
screenshot
patients and
for
medical staff have been
thumbnails
evacuated
for the
from a
video.
hospital.
You know, if there's one word that's never been used to describe me, it's smoky or mottled.
You can make a turkey out of sourdough bread.
Probably doesn't taste like a turkey.
Yeah, but it'd be cute on the table.
Fox's Trey Gingst. Holiday travelers can start watching the weather.
See, we give cooking tips.
I don't know about that. The crust of that bread seems a little overcooked.
But it's also going to be some severe weather, so watch for that. Could include a tornado or two, but some big
I'm in charge of
rain
pies.
and wind across the
What's that?
southern part of the country.
Yeah,
That'll
could
cause
be.
delays by Tuesday.
As long as it's not dried out on the inside.
Right, in parts of western New York, that same system could bring heavy snow. America's listening to Fox News.
Oh, folks, if only you could see what he showed me. But you can't.
What
you gonna do?
I think I missed the first part of the show, but I think I caught you when you could get on the news of the week. That thing didn't turn on. And I had this in position, and then the camera.
Way to go.
Life happens.
Had the audio on.
Oh, we could have that, yeah.
With a blank screen.
Yeah.
Look at Scrappy.
Video coming soon. Please stand by. Video starts in 1 minute and 23 seconds.
I will work on it after the show.
What are we talking about?
If not, you should.
Scrappy.
What
What show? Sarah Morris I am. I'll give you three guesses.
Very supportive colleague there. And the nice thing is we can say whatever we want about him because we don't have to worry about him. We know he would never watch Uncut.
Right. He says he's tuned in. So the Huskers play tonight at 6:30?
Yep.
Yes, sir. I'm predicting a 12-10 score. I just don't know which team's going to win. Wisconsin. Apparently Wisconsin's got some issues, but
They have the same record we have.
obviously we have issues.
5-5.
You call that a record? It's like a broken record.
Well, yeah.
Hey, five wins is the most we've had in years.
It's better than last year.
We're making progress.
Here's how this deal works. We beat Wisconsin. Iowa and Minnesota both lose. Today, next Friday, we play for the Big Ten West.
All the marbles. We play for all the marbles.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll play for all the marbles.
Networking or cybersecurity and start your career in months.
For all the marbles.
Why is it?
The Big Ten West. It's like because the Big Ten West sucks so bad. It's like the worst.
I don't know if there's like a vase with a bunch
Power
of marbles on it or something.
5 division. It's probably the worst division in any Power 5 conference, I'd imagine.
That's like when the Seahawks went to the playoffs and it was 7-9 record or whatever it was.
Someone's
Why
got
do they
to
call all these divisions like Big Ten and stuff when like any amount of teams can join?
Trenton, that is a complicated answer that goes back to history and tradition.
Like, what's so civil about war anyway?
See, there you go. It's the same exact thing.
Big Lou's like you. He's on meds.
Do you know Big Lou's not a real guy?
Yeah, that pissed me off. I looked that up. Big Lou is a marketing
Yeah,
stuff.
Big Lou is just a figment of some.
And he hasn't been married
imagination.
twice. He hasn't been married
He's not
twice.
on diabetes medication. He's not on high cholesterol.
He's not
drugs.
porky.
He's not on number 2.
With services like our free
Big Lou's
no-cost
like
risk
you,
management
except
for
he's
commercial
only on
properties.
number 2.
We provide preventative analysis to
But
potential
you're
damage,
talking about
repair,
Big
and
Lou's like
documentation
you.
and
He's on
found.
meds too.
Does your
I just
commercial
picture like
company
this
do that?
6'6", 400
Find us
pounds
online at D&M
slob of humanity,
Right.
but he wears like a ill-fitted tie-in suit because he works in insurance. He's kind of like a big guy wearing a 1990s IBM uniform,
But his wife
and he smokes in the back of his
And he hangs out.
is smoking.
He hangs out with Chuck
When she was
Bordell or
younger.
whatever from the
Well, that's why he keeps
the
switching.
cancellation timeshare.
Oh yeah.
You know,
I'm Chuck McDowell. My best friend is Big Lou. I got him out of the timeshare.
Guess who I am, ladies and gentlemen? Guess who I am? I'm the Jewish Mike Lindell from My Pillow.
Day is coming up on November 28th. Now is the time to support a local cause that matters to you.
All right.
Find ways to give, do, and share at shareomaha.org.
All right, Girl Omaha's back on the air. Jeff Beals sitting next to a very interesting Trenton Magid. This show is brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and D&M Roofing and Siding. A little bit about both of those companies. First of all, Dingman's has 4 metro area locations, and that way, no matter where you are in town, there's a Dingman's not terribly far from you, and they all do a great job. Trent and I have both been customers on more than one occasion with Dingman's, and have always had outstanding results. Customer service is great, in addition to the outstanding work that they do on your vehicle. And then D&M Roofing and Siding, they've been with us for a number of years. We've gotten to know Eric Obrempt and his team at D&M so well, and used them as well personally, and nothing but the best. Outstanding product that they deliver when the roof is done, and the service is second to none, and they'll do both residential and commercial roofs. All right, well, let's get into our commercial real estate development spotlight of the week. Everyone is always curious to know what we're going to announce during this period, and we've got 3 things to say. This spotlight is brought to you by Noddle Companies. You've probably heard of Noddle Companies because they're one of the premier real estate developers based here in Omaha, and they do work outside of Omaha too, but here in Omaha, they're famous for headquarters. I mean, they've done the Valmont headquarters, the HDR headquarters, the Kiewit headquarters downtown in the Builders District. And then
They do a lot of campuses.
that's a good point.
First National Campus, the Commercial Federal, which was then the
which would, it's now BMO.
Bank of the West, and now it's
Bank of the
BMO.
West, and originally the Commercial Federal Business Park. Yeah, they did all 3 of those.
Yeah.
And Builders District downtown, River's Edge, and Council Bluffs. And today we talk about what we generally consider probably to be their highest profile Omaha project that is still being developed, and that's Exarban Village. Yeah, Exarban Village is
Sam
still
Noddle
being
gave me a
developed.
tour of the whole thing yesterday. It was pretty
Oh, Rick,
impressive.
tell me about it.
Well, I'm excited to go to Rub. We went through it. We haven't eaten there yet. I think I'm going to eat there tonight. So
Rub has been getting rave reviews.
Absolutely. The same guy that has Au Courant.
Mm-hmm.
So that's exciting. And the new clothing store.
Oh, A Priori?
Yeah, very good.
Is it called A Plus Priori or just A Priori?
I think it's A Priori.
Okay.
But you can call them and ask.
I don't know. If they, maybe I'll just show up.
They've got a couple interesting restaurant opportunities that there's one that's like 5,000 square feet. So talk to me or Sam Noddle and see what's going on at Exarban Village.
And speaking of food and Exarban Village, Pops, P-O-P-S, Pops at the Inner Rail has released an updated menu. Inner Rail, of course, is the food hall right in the center of the village. It's a pizza place with appetizers. And then also at Inner Rail Food Hall, Sweet Treats, which is a mini donut business, held their grand opening this week. 15 different flavors. So if you like mini donuts, and who doesn't, go to the Inner Rail at Exarban Village. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is your commercial real estate development spotlight of the week, brought to you by Noddle Companies. Well, Trenton, in this week's Grow Omaha newsletter that comes out every Thursday afternoon, our big story highlighted a lot of construction going on along the Dodge Street corridor. Of course, there's always construction, it seems, along the Dodge Street corridor, but there's quite a bit right now. And I'm not going to go through everything in there, but a couple things that might jump out. The City of Omaha's future flagship library, which really, according to the renderings, looks like it'll be an architectural masterpiece. This is
Can't wait.
$150 million project. The tower crane is fully assembled now, and that thing sticks out way over Dodge Street. So if you are a budding construction nerd and you want to drive by and see that, it's pretty cool looking.
Because I think the highest point will probably be the 50-foot warehouse portion where they're going to use, they have all their archives and that kind of stuff and their periodicals and books. And supposedly it's like, I think of it as like Amazon warehouse technology where within 2 minutes you can get anything pulled.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun just to go and visit the place. And sometimes people will say, "Why are they building a library? Because no one reads printed books anymore." That's patently false. People read tons of printed books, including very young people. But a library is as much of a community center anymore as it is a place to check out books. I mean, you think about they're going to have all of that technology access that the Do Space had. That's going to be in there too. So it's going to be kind of like a community center where, you just kind of do your own part here in Omaha to advance humanity. I mean, it's a place where you'll go and spend time, hang out, and benefit from it.
I wonder if they're going to replace the Judy Blume book that you checked out in 7th grade and never returned.
I think you're making that story up, but my sister had all of the Judy Blume books, and I may have read a couple of them.
Well, I had to share a bathroom with my 2-year older sister, and that's where I got to read Cosmo.
And on that note, the last little construction hotspot along Dodge that we want to highlight, and there are more than just this, right around the Med Center area, the tower crane recently came down for the 6-story Hampton Inn at 44th and Douglas, so it's nearing completion. Still got a ways to go. Serious hardcore construction going on right now at the Child Saving Institute. There is a pile of dirt there that is like taller than the existing Child Saving Institute building, but that eventually will be $46 million expansion coming along great. Dirt work is already underway for the 6-story core building, which will be administrative and research for the Med Center. And then finally in that area, the 329-unit 5-story apartment building that'll take a block and a half at 48th and Dodge. Serious groundwork going on there right now. A lot of
construction going on all over.
All right, we're going to take our final break of the hour, and when we come back, it'll be your Turner Construction Lightning Round. I'm looking at the list, and there's a lot of things on there that you are going to want to talk about at your cocktail and dinner parties tonight. So stay with us. You're listening to Jeff Beals and Trenton Magid on Grow Omaha. We're brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and D&M Roofing and Siding on News Radio 1110 KFAB.
You gotta cut that, Chuck. You gotta give me that segment for the Chuck or the Mike Lindell.
You just want that little piece?
Yeah, you send that to us.
Jewish Mike Lindell, he's Star of David
overhanging. He always has that blue shirt with the cross hanging over.
Yeah, you need to have the blue shirt, and your Star of David needs to be about 6 times bigger. It's a little small.
Every time I see Mike Lindell, I smell tobacco or pipe smoke. He's just the kind of guy
He's a meth head.
Emanates the smoker.
He just reminds me of that uncle that always had that smoke smell.
I mean, it's great he built something in Minnesota or whatever. He must just say, run it, and especially on Fox News.
The holidays are going to be
whenever there's space, run it and I'll pay for it.
All I know is years ago when he first launched that commercial where he was looking through the medicine cabinet mirror at that couple in their bedroom, I'm like, I'm never buying that crap because that guy is creepy as hell.
That terrible commercial.
These people are in the bedroom, all of a sudden Mike Lindell's like, hi. Geez.
I'm not even surprised to see him there.
I'd take a hammer and shatter that medicine cabinet mirror if that happened to me.
You move. You call the priest.
Have an exorcism.
Yes.
Hi. Ah!
Yeah, it's in their bathroom.
Get out! Get out! There he is, right there. He's on the TV monitor.
This is Christmas special.
Yeah. My slippers. Geez, he's really branching out.
But wait.
My slippers save $90. How expensive are those things?
We're asking $139, it's getting $49.
Oh.
Not $139, not $79, but $49.
says they like working with a local company.
But you get this support of proprietary my pillow foam.
Yes, and you get to support jobs in Minnesota.
I think slippers are something that people buy each other for the holidays and never wear them.
My wife loves slippers. Now I have not owned
Slippers?
Yeah.
I have not owned a pair of slippers since my Oscar the Grouch slippers in the
you gotta love
1970s. But in all honesty, I did love them, and I think I also had a Cookie Monster slipper. I am thinking about getting a pair for this winter.
I've got them, but I always forget to wear them.
Records at 8:15. KFAB's Morning News Monday.
And welcome back to the show. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for your Turner Construction Lightning Round, appropriately brought to you by Turner Construction. By the way, Sarpy County Chamber of Commerce last week awarded its Company of the Year. Trenton, guess who it was?
Turner Construction.
Yeah, it's a pretty safe guess given that this is the Turner Construction Lightning Round, but you are correct, sir. And they deserve it. They've been operating in Sarpy County for since 2017. But guess what? They do a lot of business here in Douglas County as well and other parts of Nebraska. In fact, the office is called Turner Construction Nebraska. They have Nebraska people working here that have been in the construction industry for a long time. They do outstanding work, and they're outstanding people. Every time I sit down and talk with someone for Turner, I always just enjoy the conversation, and frankly, I learned something too. So thanks to Turner Construction for being the sponsor of the Lightning Round. Whew, look at all this stuff we've got in here. First of all, we have a restaurant appears to be coming to the old Stoysich House of Sausage near 132nd and Center.
No way.
And it's called Hot Pot 88. Hot Pot 88. We're going to find some more details about that this week.
Is that going somewhere else too? Is this their second location?
That I don't know.
We reported on that.
That I don't know. Hey, a couple of restaurants. Okay, last week we told you that Helados Locos is a new dessert destination in Lakeside Hills along West Center Road, coming from the owner of Javi's Tacos, Javier Trujillo. But guess what? Javi has two more concepts coming. These are in the same building as the Javi's Tacos that is on 204th Street in downtown Elkhorn area. The first one is going to be in the former Sunnyside Elkhorn space, and it's going to be called Time to Rise and Shine. It'll be a breakfast and brunch restaurant. Nice. Really cool. Javi gave me a tour of the space. It's going to be really awesome in there. And then right next door to that, in the old Site 1 tap room space, Javi and his team are going to be opening Frosty Muggs Sports Bar. Frosty Muggs Sports Bar, 17 TVs, build your own burger and pizza options, games for the kids, very family friendly. So new concepts, 3 new concepts coming from the owner of Javi's Tacos, and 2 of them will be in that same retail strip as the Elkhorn Javi's location. And then Trenton downtown, Roxy Omaha opened. This is the retro cocktail bar out of Iowa City, Iowa. And it's in the Capital District just west of Texas de Brazil. And the next month, a sister company, same ownership, the Stuffed Olive, will open in that space.
It's amazing how many restaurant and bar options, breakfast places, lunch places, dinner places. And we've been talking about for a couple of years how people are short on staff and service and all that kind of stuff. And restaurateurs just can't get enough.
Yeah, well, we love them and we love going to them. And I think you and I are culprits and do our part to support the restaurant community here.
Shows the economy is good, too. People are going out spending money.
Got 3 new tenants coming to Metro Crossing Shopping Center in Council Bluffs, right there at the I-29 Interstate 80 interchange. They are Jersey Mike's Subs, Hot Works, and Noodles and Company. So if you eat too much Noodles and Company or Jersey Mike's, you can go over to Hot Works and work it off. Exterior walls are being erected for Omaha's 3rd Costco wholesale store, southeast corner of 180th and Maple.
Wow, they moved a lot of dirt on that side. They had to flatten it out.
My question is, which will come first? The Costco opens or the Fleet Farm to the west is started?
Yeah, Fleet Farm has owned that land, I think, for a couple of years. And they've got another site at 192nd and Highway 370.
And we're waiting for a little bit of activity there.
Bring it on, Fleet. We've been talking about you for 6 years.
We'll see. And that whole West Maple corridor from
right there at 180th West. Lot of activity going in that area because, like we said, walls going up on the Costco. We assume that Fleet Farm's still coming, but right there in that area, you got Burger Detour, Chipotle, and Starbucks, all just opening brand new buildings right in that corridor. Also very close to that on the other side of the street, St. Patrick's Catholic Church out of Elkhorn.
That's a big site.
It is a big site. Lastly, music's playing. Garage, a teen and young women's clothing store at Westroads, opened last weekend. And so there you have it. That's your news of the week, your Turner Construction Lightning Round. I'm Jeff Beals.
And I'm Trenton Maggot.
You've been listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center, D&M Roofing and Siding, and of course, Turner Construction. We'll chat with you next week at 9 o'clock right here on News Radio 1110 KFAB.
It's a wrap.
Bum, bum, bum.
He said.
If you like this video, be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. And remember, Grow Omaha is not just media. This is a mission. We are trying to build up Omaha and make it an even better place. We can only do that with your help. Share this video with your friends, neighbors, and family.